I think calling anything a studio make it sound more professional. Good. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way here. And we got all kinds of stuff to airbrush. I had to come out here to get those extra machine guns that I was missing this morning. And I got allergies or a sniffle or something. It's pollen season. So let's fire this thing up and see where we go from there. Let's see where we go from there. All right, so we're going to use, hopefully we'll have better luck than we did last time. The last time I was doing priming, I actually did it off video, and I was thinking, you know, it was probably a good idea because a lot of things it wasn't going really well. Had a lot of hiccups. Sometimes that happens. Airbrush is just a completely different world. Completely different world. All right. So, let's see. Is this view okay, I guess? I think. All right. Okay, cool. So, we got this thing connected. We can fire this thing up to something really high. Let me put the super readers on so I can see which needle is which needle. You know, I'm going to take care of that right now. I've got a marker out here. I'm going to go ahead and mark them. So the airbrush actually came with a 0.35 needle. And I bought, and one of the altercations, it ended up hitting the floor and put a tiny little bend in it. So I had to buy another one. So I have 3 needles here. 2 of them are the same. Okay, this is the one that has the little bend in it. And it's the same as this one. Okay, so we're going to take the one with a little bend and we're going to put it away. It's not usable, but... And then I'm going to leave it unmarked. That way the 2 that are the same are unmarked. And I'm going to mark the 0.5. Okay, so this is the 0.5 is the one that you use. Well, that's not going to work. We need to use something that's a little bit more. The 0.5 is the one that we're going to want to use for priming. With the 0.5 nozzle, the nozzles look completely different from each other. All right, so we're going to feed this 0.5 through here. Did we lose this fucking thing again? That's why you guys watch this thing, because you never know what's going to happen. I wasn't even messing with this, and now it's gone. Oh, man. I really should get another one of those things. And it's round, and it travels like a mother. Well, maybe we won't have an airbrush session today. I didn't even catch where it went. I know I didn't pull the damn thing off. Son of a biscuit eater. No. I don't know where the hell it went. I will be your first like. Well, I don't deserve any likes today after that bullshit. All right, let me give this 5 minutes to look at it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Here it is. This little guy. So this thing, you got to be careful not to take it too far out because it'll roll like a son of a bitch on the ground. There you go. If you give up, you never find it, right? Okay. I'll take that like back now. All right, so let's make sure that this is clean. So we're going to look through there. Oh, yeah. I try to leave it clean when I come back, but that is the easiest piece to lose, is that little round bastard on the back. And even though you can just hand tighten this, you definitely want to use a little wrench. And this is an Iwata HPCS, by the way. I am not an airbrush expert. Absolutely not. There's as good a chance that I'm going to show you how to not to do things as opposed to how to do things. I'm a brush painter guy. But we're going to dial this up some more. So just to kind of give you kind of a roundabout idea on price, this is about $150 airbrush. I don't think you should go for a cheaper airbrush than this. And the compressor costs about $150 as well. It's a cheap ass compressor with a tank. So about $300 for the whole setup, and then you're good to go, you know. So Jello. All right. So now we got to see if this thing will work from the last time I did it. So we're going to put some airbrush cleaner that we made. And this isn't set all the way in, otherwise that wouldn't be happening. Come on. Yeah, we're gonna have to give this a deep clean. That's what I was afraid of. The primer, I usually do a pretty good job, but I think last time I was actually in a hurry, and the primer is just really thick. Kind of low on the pressure thing here. Bump this. Let's blow up the tank. I wonder if you could do that. Yeah, see, it's spittle in there. Let's take all these pieces out, clean them out well. And all it takes is a tiny little thing for it not to not work perfectly. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some of this hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer breaks down all the paint, unless you're using enamel paint, in which case you're on your own. And this thing works pretty well too. The issue's probably not here. It's usually in the nozzle. And it takes. This is what happened to me the other night. I wasn't filming, and I spent probably 30 minutes trying to fix this. So, what's the purpose of this contraption? It's an airbrush, so you can paint things like a spray can, but not using a spray can. You can use your paint of choice in your spray can instead of having something that's uber toxic. So I only use acrylics. I don't use enamels. They stink. They might work well, but they stank. They have a stank. So I was perfectly happy using enamels for primering and the final coat, the clear coat on my vehicles, or really anything else. And then Rust-Oleum went and bought testers and discontinued all the Model Master stuff. So there was no longer a good quality paint. So, and it got really toxic. It may have always been toxic, but this stuff like smelled toxic. Alright, let's try to blow this shit out. Let's see how we get on. So I have several vehicles out here that they could use, including some you guys haven't seen. This is the high quality shit. Well, you know, I generally don't go and change how I do things in my hobby just because there's another way of doing it. It's usually like everything I've been doing forever worked, and all of a sudden something doesn't work. Some variable happens that it doesn't work, and that's the only reason I change it. I don't just change shit just to change shit. All right, and this nozzle, the only thing this is for is you put this on the end so you don't accidentally like screw up your needle. I generally don't use it. It's just another place where paint can collect and jam stuff up. All right, let's see if this made a difference. Nope, nope, it's still fucked up. This happened to me the other day. The problem is the paint I'm going to use right now is, I don't know why you're doing that. All right, this should work. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this, well, let's go put our body cavity search glove on first. That can keep some of the mess off. It can. Man, I'm still feeling like a cocaine addict. Well, I'm doing coke. I think it's a pollen. Supposedly, Florida is one of the worst pollen places ever. All right, this allows you to like grab the model and stuff and not worry about getting it on your fingers. If you get it on your fingers, it's not a big deal. I'd prefer not to have one on this one just to have some dexterity left. Now, what I like to do is I like to put one little drop and make sure it doesn't misbehave. Because if you got to clean the thing out, last thing you need is just having it all over the place. Four little dots. Let's see how we're spraying here. That's about how we want to spray it. We want it to be thin. Okay. Let's roll with that. All right, what do we got here? We got a couple of Czech 38 turrets. We got some vehicles. We got some vehicles that you guys have never seen me do before. And I've got them broken into parts. These came pre-painted like this. So some of you might actually think, hey, that actually looks pretty cool. Well, tough. It's going to have to get repainted. And one of these actually took a freaking tumble out here. So this is an Opel Blitz Maltier. So it is a half-track truck. I thought a painter would rather sniff paint than coke. You know, that whole sniffing paint, I don't know who the hell does that. Maybe people that sniff paint are folks that grew up in a household where there wasn't any alcohol. So I'm like, why would you sniff paint when you could just have some tequila? So we've got, I know why I didn't do this. Because I got to mask the windows. And I didn't feel like doing that just yet. Yeah, but this came painted like this. The problem is I've got a couple of them, and the camouflage is fine, but you can't have two of them that are like exactly the same camouflage because that just didn't happen. You know, the camouflage were applied in the field, so unless two guys are trying to be big time copycats, that wasn't gonna fly. Now, what else do we have here? We have another Czech 38, but this is the one that's actually the command wagon. It actually has like an antenna. I need to finish building that. Hey, look, it's a P-40. I do airplanes. Well, I don't finish them. And then this Mondo thing. I talked about this the other night. This is that AA half track. This one's actually 1/72nd scale and is big as hell, you know? So what else we got here? Oh, we got a really old model of a Czech 38. This one I got a long time ago. This one's all white metal. This is not very good, but it'll do just fine. What's that? Oh, I know what that is. That's from one of the Panthers. Okay, so we need to finish that. Let's spray these Czech 38s. Oh, we're just going to clip this on here and just work from the bottom. Why drink tequila when you can drink paint? Because tequila makes you fun at parties. Nobody goes, hey, that guy likes to drink paint. Help him tell you a joke. Passed out with a nosebleed. That must be the generation after mine that did that. Yeah, see, this thing's being a little biatch. This happened to me the other day. Yeah. So I backed it off, so now it'll work, but it's going to spray a shitload of this stuff. That's fine. We'll just get farther away from it. What day is it? Tuesday? It's real hairy. As opposed to the fake one. I said that the other day. He didn't know what I was talking about. I said, it's just a play on you pick the handle, man. I got some people that I deal with that have some weird nicknames. I had this one guy I used to deal with. His name was Cornbread. He wanted to go by Cornbread. I guess maybe somebody made fun of him with that handle, and then he just decided to like embrace the being made fun of. You know? Bubba. Bubba's a common one. Sometimes other ones don't make any sense. You can call me JD. What's your name? Thomas. Like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. Construction type people, you know. And the other day, this just straightened itself out. It was sputtering, and then it just eventually straightened itself out. Let's hope the same thing happens again. Now this primer is pretty handy. You can brush paint it as well, and it's self-leveling to a degree. It works really well with a paintbrush. So when I go through almost this entire bottle, what I'll do is I'll go inside and I'll leave, you know, the quarter bottle of this and buy another one for the airbrush. It's the same material. Works great on figures. If I'm painting figures, I'll just hand paint those. I don't worry about airbrushing them. Okay. Now you're working all right. Okay. It's 2 down. ¿Qué pasó? What happened? And this isn't not working because it needs to be thinned down. This is not working because it's got some tiny little sliver of a something in there. And I don't want to spend 45 minutes cleaning it. Because if I do that, then what did you do today? Oh, I just cleaned my airbrush and that's it. How long have I been doing YouTube for? I want to say 2018. I want to say 2018. I do kind of a niche thing, and I just basically do this so that I have some kind of interaction with other people while I'm doing my hobby that I don't like to do solitaire. Is I got in the habit of, in the early 2000s, no, I'm sorry, in the mid 90s, I had a friend of mine who would come over on Wednesday nights and paint. So it became a social thing. It became a social thing. So, you know, the last thing I want to do is just sit here and just like do this by myself. The only thing I don't like about this hobby, the only thing that I don't like about this hobby is that when you're doing stuff like this, time flies. You're like, oh, okay, well, I got about 4 hours to kill. I should be able to get a lot done. Oh, no, time will fly. This is like a great hobby if you're like serving like a life sentence for, you know, somewhere in prison. Because, you know, those 20 years or 30 years or whatever will be over in like a week. You know, but that's the only thing is I'll do a session like a couple hours and I'll be like, man, it's been 2 hours already? What the hell, you know? You just get used to it. But it became a social thing. And I film games and stuff too when we're playing games, but I haven't played a face-to-face game in months, maybe even on a year, and I don't miss it. You know, some people like, they don't want to create anything, they just want to play games. I said, well, if I want to play games, I'll fire up the Xbox, right? It's not like I don't play games. I just don't I don't need to play games and going through all that much trouble face to face with other people and bring stuff over and then take it apart and then I'm late and then it messes up my next work day and you know, it's not worth it. So I can quit this whenever I want, go to bed. You are just being flat out difficult today. All right, I'm going to try something. I'm going to think outside the box. Let's try something. Let's try the thinner needle. I'm not supposed to do this. But what could it hurt? I'm going to try the thinner needle and the nozzle that's bigger. So I was with a 0.5 nozzle and a 0.5 needle. This is the 0.35 needle. Let's see what the hell happens. Let's see what the hell happens. I can't use a 0.35 nozzle for sure, because that's not going to work. Well, that's not jamming up at all. Okay, well, that's how we're going to move forward. Man, this runny nose, and I took allergy medicine for it. I don't really have any allergies, but I've only been 53 once. I know lots of people, game. And then they buy stuff and don't do anything with it. Or they get other people to paint their shit. I need to paint stuff because it's my therapy. It's my therapy to keep me from going crazy at work. And the gaming part, that doesn't solve it for me. Other people may disagree. I would probably say I'm in the minority. A lot of people like the game and stuff. But you're just being difficult today. I spent like 45 minutes a couple weeks ago cleaning this thing out why I did the camouflage on the half tracks. It was really fine detail, or the finest detail I've been able to get out of it, and it worked really well. And then I turned around and primed some stuff and got junk in it again. I think we're out now. Well, it's not going to work when you're out. For those of you that are morning watchers on my program, I will not have a morning session tomorrow. My daughter called me and says that she needs me to help her study for a test. She's in Spain right now. I was going to say dual enrolled, but that's not right. She's exchange studenting, and so I'll be doing that tomorrow morning. For you early birds, that's you, Marcus, and Jeffrey, and Justin. So, might as well let you know. Instead of like, where's that mother? Did you oversleep? I don't oversleep. You want to see me angry? Make me oversleep on a work night, on a work morning. It's like I wake up and then I got to go to work. Damn it! I like to wake up and do what I want to do. Have my breakfast, not be rushed. I actually didn't come home for lunch today because I didn't want to be rushed. When I come home from lunch, it's always like rushed. It's working a little bit better. I said that as gurgling. Should not be gurgling. Nope, shouldn't be doing that either. Whoop! Hello. It's my work clothes, so it's not like it's... I don't wear my good clothes to work. You just out to fuck with me. Well, you know what? I'm not giving up. You're gonna work all night long. Something wants to give you hell or wants to take the rest of the night off, show it. Like, screw you. You're gonna paint all night. That's how I feel about dice. You got dice that starts rolling bad. I don't know, people like start using dice. Oh, they switch dice. Well, I'm not superstitious, so you start rolling like a little bitch, you don't get the day off, Mr. Dice. Other people think I'm crazy. I'd rather be crazy than superstitious. Those people that watch sports and we got to eat the same thing we ate last time when we won. You crazy ass person, you. Hijo de la gran puta. I don't have 45 minutes that I want to devote to that. And besides, I'm used to priming. I'm used to priming with a spray can. Even if I'm opening this up and I'm getting a lot more paint on it, it's still a lot less paint than when I was priming with a spray can. All right, we're at turrets, right? We got, here's a hull. 3 turrets, 3 hulls. I feel like I'm missing one. Did I leave it up in here? Superstitious or crazy are the same thing. Yeah. Superstitious people are crazy, but not all crazy people are superstitious. We need another little coat top. I didn't use these for a while, but now I kind of swear by them. Kind of handy. And this stuff's great. This white tack. What's up, Justin? Not going to be on tomorrow morning. There you go. Now I've told you. My daughter wants me to help her study. And it's going to be like 10:30 in the morning when it's 5:30 here, so. You have to find some other reason worth waking up. Be back on the next day, you know. What is she studying? She's taking electives in Spain. So she's taking, what is she taking? Painting, cooking, flamenco, and that's dancing. And what else? Wine. So, Uncle Namaste. I've been called worse. Just don't call me a liar. You can call me an asshole, not a liar. I'm not a liar. That's some dishonorable shit right there. We got 2 Crusaders to prime. Got some motorcycling dudes. Well, the thing is, so here's the thing about cooking. She takes the cooking class, says, Dad, the course sucks. Like, why? All we're doing is learning about Middle Eastern people and, like, no cooking things. Like, the history of cooking. I'm like, well, that's exciting. Not. I helped her study for the wine class last weekend. Man, it's some complicated shit. Now, I don't know anything about wine. We're going to talk about liquor. I know about liquor. But not about wine. The wine in Spain is different than the wine in the States. A lot of the stuff that we have here in the States sucks. The Spanish beer is really good. I spent about 2.5 weeks there, and I really, really liked it. Cell phone works everywhere. So she's, let's see, it's the middle of March. So she's only going to be there another 2 months. You know, time really flies. And then she's going to be here all the time. It's like, man, you need to get a job. You know, because then you just get in a habit of not doing anything. Don't get me wrong, I'd rather her be here, but, you know, sometimes, you sit around all day long. It's kind of like a dog. Uh-oh. Well, what I mean is, like, you're working all day, you come home, you're tired, right? And they're like, all right, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I just want to relax. I just want to relax, you know? So, what is this doing? Why don't I have a turret for it? There's 2 inside. Oh, because there's 4 turrets down here. Huh. Drink. Cervezas Hermano. I tried like 7 or 8 different brands of them, and they were all good. I think the one I liked the best was this one called Victoria. I go to this place, and I like everything, okay? But I don't like hops. I really don't. I can drink something like an IPA, but I don't prefer it. You know, if I'm going to drink something like that that's going to dry my tongue out, it might as well be gin. So I go to this one restaurant, and it said, you know, well, what kind of beer you have? So we got this, that, and the other, but we also have our special house beer or whatever. I'm like, well, what's it like? Oh, it's really good. I asked her, I said, is it really hoppy? Because if it is, I'm not interested. Because all the Spanish beer I had is really, 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 really smooth. Really smooth. And she didn't know what hops was. So I looked up what hops meant in Spanish. She still didn't know. I said, that was a good sign. But, you know, different people like different things. Like, there's a lot of people that like IPAs. Well, I like spicy food, right? I think one of the worst things you can have is food that's bland. But I know lots of people that can't eat spicy food, but they drink IPAs. I'm like, okay, well, you know, we're all programmed a little different. I can drink one. I'm just like, if you're going to give me a choice, you know, I'm going to choose. If you let me choose, I'll choose. You know, just like if you go out to eat, right? You go to a restaurant, and you're paying for it, There's things you're going to pick over other ones. But if you go to somebody's house, you know, it's not like, all right, well, I'm not going to eat chicken, but, you know, it's something you might prefer instead of whatever they're having. Went to Spain earlier this year with my school for 3 weeks. I got shit-faced every day. It was great. Are you British? Because the British go to Spain a lot. And after I've been there, I understand why. Because Spain is like Florida. It's like beautiful skies. Britain is like, the hell did you do with the bloody sun? I didn't even get a buzz in Spain. Well, I was on vacation. I don't need to drink while I'm on vacation. I need to drink while I'm at work. And since I can't, well, I don't really need to drink. You live in Italy. Okay. Are you Italian? I don't speak Italian, but I'd like to go to Italy and just speak to them in Spanish and talk with my hands. And honestly, I'm scared of the drivers in Italy. Driving these tiny little cars that death traps and then driving like a maniac. That's one of the things I hated about Europe is the primitive parking they have there. But, you know, I don't live in a place where, you know, you even have to pay for parking. I mean, that's un-American. Oh, they pay for parking in America? Not the part of America I live in. Justin doesn't pay for parking. I mean, unless you're going to Detroit. No, you're originally French, but I grew up in South Africa, which is why I speak English. Ah. You grew up in South Africa. So in South Africa, whoops, this is not going well. In South Africa, do they still hate the English, or they hate the English and the Boer people equally? That's a part of my history that I'm just not really yikes, that I'm not really up on. Is that Boer War stuff. My wife's boss is going on a safari like next month or something like that. And she goes, man, I would like to go on a safari. I said, not me. You have German relatives that like to vacation in Argentina. Time to shave your mustache, pal. At times they're crazy on the road, right? In Spain, they were actually pretty chill. You know, free parking in Michigan. That's right. Well, you know, there's Detroit, you know, and stuff like that, but that's not really Michigan, right? That's not all. That's just a select few of too many people up in your business. Did I leave the Panzer Gray out here? I bet I did. Gray base, I did. We could Panzer growl some of these guys. I'm not about done messing with this freaking black that's just going every which way. Just incorrigible. As a non-airbrush painter, I'm used to, and I don't make that much of a mess airbrushing. You can, but, you know, I'm used to making zero mess painting. So just having to do cleanup and stuff like that is just kind of an alien thing. All right, let's, I guess we can go ahead and clip this on this one. Pre-parking. But there is tension between the blacks and the whites. Well, you know, some parts I can't speak because I haven't been there. Oh, I wouldn't want to go on a safari because I'd want to be armed. Like I'm not going to a continent where, you know, I've seen all those movies. Nope. And then you can't be armed. I'm like, well, I'm not going on a safari. And I don't mean to hunt animals, but I mean like if I'm getting attacked by an animal, it gonna die. You know? Like I'm not a let's hunt animals because they're there kind of person. I'm fine if people want to do that. But if I'm getting attacked by a whatever, it's going down. I don't care if it's a dog or we have a shit. No toll booths in Michigan. Let's see if we can do this right. Let's close this. Justin may get a kick out of this. Let's flip this. All right, this is my window. This is my neighborhood. It's suburbia. It's actually a 1 acre lot. I know Justin's going to say those guys are too close to me. Well, you know, it's they're cool as fuck, yeah, but I don't want to be like around, you know, natives and communist guerrillas and, you know, predators and not be armed, man. Give me an FAL and then we can go on a safari. They're pretty safe if you go with a guide. Unless nobody likes that guy. Then they're like, oh, we're going to go after Yaboomfe. Yaboomfe's got another group of suckers with him. And Yaboomfe owes me money. We're going to mess up Yaboomfe. Welcome to Zangaro. No sharks or gators. There ain't no gators here. You know, you want to bathe in some swampland or something like that? No gators here. Sharks, you know how you deal with sharks, Justin? Don't go into the water when you're on your period. And then you're safe. The sharks will leave you the hell alone. You got to watch out for the communist guerrillas. Yeah, no, that's... One of my favorite kind of movies is I like those African-themed movies. You know, those warlord, you know, what's that new one that came out? Beasts of No Nation and Blood Dog. I love that kind of shit. I know that doesn't happen anywhere, but, you know. That would never happen to you. Well, you know, that kind of stuff can happen to you when you're in New York. The stuff that happens in New York movies can happen to you in New York for real. So it stands for you like that. Don't forget. Yeah, make sure you put in about 3 tampons before you get in the water. So 4th of July, a couple of years ago, my wife grew up in Miami, and she knows some people down there. And no, none of those drug running people. No, just some normal people. They do have a boat, and it's not a speed boat or anything. And they're like, yeah, let's go out on a boat. We'll go out to the, 3-4 feet of water and grill stuff out. Bring drinks and things like that. Adult beverages. Basically like you're in water, but you're like on a sandbar, right? Just relaxing. And the guy brought like his brother and like brother's wife, girlfriend, something like that. We get in the water and the guy goes up and looks at it. He lifts his ankle up and says, hey, you see what I got here? He's got like this thing around his ankle. I said, yeah, your parole officer is going to come looking for you. I said, no, this is like against sharks. This is like a anti-shark preventing thing. And without missing a beat, I'm like, sharks don't eat fucking Cubans. Like, they don't touch fucking Cubans, man. Cubans are good for about 90 miles. Sharks won't touch them. He just laughed. I've never been worried about sharks. Now, if I was in the water and I saw a shark fin, okay, all right? If that had ever happened, yeah, I'd be worried. But it hasn't happened. I've encountered barracudas, I'm not saying there aren't sharks out there. They're not really interested in you unless you get like a shark that's deranged, deranged shark that's just in the wrong place, Justin gets in the water and he's like, I wonder what Yankee tastes like, and he wants to take a bite. But I don't really think about it. Now, what you don't want to get is in a lake in Florida because, first of all, best case scenario, the water is the color of sweet tea. it's just really unpleasant looking, you know, because of the cypress, and it's full of cypress knees and stuff. You could trip over things, you know, and there's gators, or there could be, you know, but they really don't want to have anything to do with you either. But, you know, if they're really hungry, you know, shark meat. Yep. We're having fish tonight. I think this thing just, well, we're going to have to clean this bitch out. Message held for review. Why? In South Africa, there's a shit ton of angry commie sharks. Show. Yeah, I don't like commie anythings. I'll be honest with you. I'd be afraid of going to South Africa because I'm like, I don't want to go to a place where there's a lot of people that poverty, that have hardship has happened to them, whether it's their fault or not. And I don't want to be blamed for that. Like, listen, we went to the New World. We didn't go to Africa. Okay? If some Aztec-looking guy wants to come after me, well, okay. Well, my ancestors did look for all your fucking gold, but we didn't go to Africa. Yeah, they did, but not much. So yeah, I don't want to pay for somebody else's sins, man. My middle name's not Jesus, you know? Remember a couple years ago, they had these guys that were, I want to say it was a couple. I could be wrong. How do you get all this black stuff on the ground? The drippings. There was a couple that was on a sailboat. And it was like a big sailboat. You know, like 30-something foot, or maybe even bigger than that. And they were going to sail the earth, right? They were going to sail around the world. Sounds like a good plan, right? But this is where geography is important. They decided to sail through the Arabian Sea or something like that. And these guys off of Oman or whatever went after them or something. I'm like, are you retarded? I mean, do you not watch the freaking news? You know? Oh, I'm just gonna sail around the earth and just hope people's goodwill will show them that. Like, no. You know, you only have one life and you're only allowed one fatal mistake. You don't want to be that guy, you know? By the way, I watched some of your videos, Justin, this morning. And some of your videos, you got like 4 or 5. And one of them had like a waterfall, and it kind of threw me off because it said it was in February of this year. But I would have thought that February would have been frozen. Maybe you just uploaded it in February, but you took it earlier. You know, this looks totally clear of stuff. You uploaded it but forgot to change the date. Yeah, that had to have not, there's no way that was in your winter. It'd be like frozen. Completely frozen. Do I have any more of those things? Only came with like 2 of them, but anyhow. And then of course I think this is where all the problems are. The problems are in this nozzle, because even if you clean the stuff out, it's like stuck in there. Now, the hand sanitizer literally will melt the paint. So it should work, but it's not a lot of paint. It's just one tiny little pip will mess the whole thing up. It's really amazing. I mean, I've cleaned something out and been like, man, there's nothing on here. I don't know why I'm cleaning it. And cleaned it anyways. Didn't see anything coming out. And then I went and, yeah, see the hand sanitizer is actually melting some of the paint that's on here. Not the glove, but the actual black paint, and then getting it dirty. Upper Peninsula is beautiful during the winter. If you have four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Your vehicles have two sets of tires. You got summer tires and winter tires. See, if I had that kind of weather, I would just keep the wheels that are on my car. I'd just get another set of wheels for the summer. But I don't need winter nothing. And winter's over here. I don't know if we'll have another cold snap. It's been low 40s, high 30s in the mornings. I'm actually surprised how cold it's been. I mean, that's not really cold. It's pleasant, but you know, you don't want to be wet wearing shorts or something like that. All right, let's set that off to the side. Let's see if the 0.35 is clean. Looks like it is. All right, one of these, this one. Let's see if we do have better luck with a thinner paint through the thinner nozzle. Seasonal tires. You've got ones for fall too? No, just summer and winter. How long will a set of winter tires last? I imagine a long time. I would imagine they wouldn't wear, oh, unless they put a bunch of crap over your roads, doesn't it? Salt and stuff that eat them up. I had to drive in the snow when I was in Canada. Never driven in it. It's just pretend you're playing a driving game and, you know, plan ahead. And somebody was like going by me fishtailing. Like, if you're fishtailing, you're going too fast for the driving conditions. You can't crash fast enough to win, pal. You know, if it says 45 miles an hour and you're fishtailing like crazy, you probably shouldn't be going 45 miles an hour. I mean, you know, unless you don't care if you end up in the hospital killing your family. You had your tires for 6. Wow, that's a long time. That's a long time. Well, you know, if you've got snow tires on, right, and you get snowed in, you're not going anywhere. So those days, oh, hello. Those days are going to, you don't drive at all on those days. Like those days where you were snowed in for three weeks. You didn't go anywhere, did you? So it doesn't really matter what kind of tires you have on. You're not traveling anywhere. The only thing I don't like about snow is if you're not familiar with what you're driving over, you have no idea how deep it is. So, you know, you could be driving through a snow swamp and like step and down you go 5 feet or worse. That's the only thing I didn't like about walking around on snow. And no, I didn't have snowshoes on because I was just a visitor. Nobody else had them on either. All right, let's see if this thing behaves. Now, I remember the other one ran like shit, even with a bigger nozzle, with just water. How's this? I suspect this one will be better. Yeah, and the reason why is because I don't run the primer through this, and the primer is the one that's just icky. Okay, fair enough. One of these days, I'm gonna go and buy some paint that's just black, and just paint it with regular black paint, not use primer. Good crap for 3 days. Oh, you didn't go to work for 3 weeks. 3 weeks would be crazy, man. You got a plan. You got to have a plan. All right, let's get Panzer Gray out here. The problem with 3 weeks is you got nobody but whoever you're living with, and man, you probably drive each other crazy. One, two. All right, let's remove this from here, so we can kind of use this as a sample to make sure everything's working okay. Oh yeah, beautiful. It's the primer. It's the primer that's just angry all the time. You live in a no plow zone. You're not allowed to plow, or nobody comes and saves you. You're on your own. That's your call sign. AMF yo-yo. Shit, that's what happened during COVID. Well, it depends where you live. Because here in Florida, I didn't miss a single day at work. Okay. So for me, it was just normal. I go out and like, why is everybody like hiding from the world? I'm like, we went from like being this busy to being like this busy during COVID. A couple either got closer or divorced. Oh, that's what happened during COVID. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to forget that ever existed. We're watching a comedian. I'm like, I don't want to watch any comedians that did any stand-up during the COVID time. Like, I don't want to hear about that shit. And some people got, like, really freaking scared of that shit. You know, like, I think there's a lot of people that just don't wash their hands and stuff like that. Like, I just pretend it was like freaking flu season and just like, you know, take care of shit. Like Howard Stern and stuff like that. I think he went in like a freaking bunker, man, like the Fuhrer. South Africa, you couldn't leave the house during the first stages. Like they wouldn't let you be outside. Well, the craziest thing, what's the best place you could be? You know, I mean, if it's really a problem, where's the best place you could be during COVID? And they ban alcohol and cigarettes. What's the best place you could be? On the beach, right? There's no better place to be. Like if there's a zombie apocalypse, the beach. I mean, unless you got water zombies, like that's the best. You got a breeze, you got fresh air. I mean, unless the COVID comes from, you know, Poseidon, that's the best place to be. Oh, you can't go to the beach. Why? Because they can't patrol shit. Well, why you gotta patrol me, man? I didn't ask to be controlled. I behave better than people in government. Leave me alone. You never got the COVID vaccine. I didn't want to get it because they told me I had to get it. And I did get it because we were going on a cruise. I wasn't afraid of it. I just didn't like the fact that they said, "Hey, you got to get it." And then the big thing is like I'm not opposed to getting the vaccine because I mean I have all my other ones, but it's like get a vaccine. Okay, everybody got the vaccine? Good. Now mask up. Well then why did I get the fucking vaccine? You know? Because I didn't have a problem with the vaccine. I had a problem with masking up. I don't want to interact with anybody. Because I don't hear well, so I can't understand them. And I actually encountered somebody who was disappointed that COVID went away. This is a true story. They were disappointed that COVID went away because then they liked the mask because they didn't have to pretend to smile at people. Well, you don't have to smile at people anyways, but you know, unless you got a boat. What I miss? Now the beach would be terrible in a zombie apocalypse. Why? They can't swim, and they can only come from two directions. That way on a beach. Well, I guess three directions. so I don't want, I'm just anti the mask thing. I don't want to interact with people like that. I luckily didn't have to wear it at work. I'm far enough from people. I don't want to have people all over my business anyways. I don't want to interact with somebody wearing a mask. I mean, you're playing Call of Duty or something, They have these masks have like a skeleton face on them. Like, sorry, people that wear skeleton shit are the bad guys, A couple different grocery stores here said like, oh, you had to wear a mask in there, so wife just ended up ordering through Instacart or whatever. I think that's the one she used. Fucking not doing that shit. That's when Amazon like boom. Like Amazon was already booming, and COVID just like they probably made so much money during COVID. Sand is hard to run on. You have the skeleton masks. I don't like them. I don't like people wearing that shit. You went into one fucking hole that a kid dug that day before and you're dead. Oh, man. Sand zombies. There was a time when I was watching all that zombie stuff that Mitch liked to watch it, right? And we'd watch and we'd be like a pair of ethnic women talking to the freaking in the movie theater. I wouldn't do that. Oh my God, I can't believe you did that kind of stuff. That was the entertainment value, but it was like, it's just freaking stupid. It's just dumb. Like, first of all, I've seen a fair number of zombie things, and I'm sure it's out there. But the weapon you would have would be a machete. I don't think I've ever seen a single person with a machete. I mean, I remember when I was like 12 years old, we had a machete at home. It was like, hey, go back there and knock down that banana plant. Big old banana plant. A set of them, like 3 of them. They were like, well, about this big around. One swipe, down, boom, gone. Like, man, that's a weapon. Never seen anybody on a zombie show have one. Like, you gotta be kidding me. And they were watching, what was that? Fear the Walking Dead? And the most incompetent you were, the more you survived. I had that one kid that was like, I can't even remember what the hell he was. I mean, he sucked. And he's like, he's the only guy I didn't get eaten. I'm like, really? Use a bat. A bat's a good choice. So, you guys seen that series? It's on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix series called Black Summer. Okay? And there's 2 seasons of it. The second season is garbage. But the first season's actually we're gonna have a beer. It's non-alcoholic. We bought it for somebody else. Might as well have it. What was it called? Black Summer. Okay, so it's a zombie thing, and it doesn't waste any time getting into the action going. But you have this scene, this suburban scene, at least what I remember, that the first season's worth watching. The second one is not. You have this scene where the zombies basically break into a suburban neighborhood, and everybody's like running every which way. And nobody thinks, because that's the thing that doesn't make any sense. I get it that maybe you don't have any firearms or anything, but if you got this, right, and zombies are coming after you, break it, and now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sticks you can fight somebody off with. Oh no, they don't think of that. They're just like running empty-handed. Like, you guys are stupid. Like, who writes this stuff? Stupid people. Because I'm like, I'm not like the biggest badass anywhere, but I'm going down fighting, Z Nation, which is the sequel. Z Nation was good. World War Z, the first half of World War Z was okay, but then it got to the part in the Middle East and it was like, oh, okay. But I do like those ones where they just like don't even explain how it happened. Just they're there, But I like those zombie things from the standpoint of there's no rule of law and you have to decide what morality you're going to uphold. And I like that. It's kind of what would you do kind of thing. Now, what's wrong with this? Did I spray it? Is it not sprayed? I think it is. I think it is sprayed Panzer Gray. What else we got here that we can Panzer Gray out? I think that's it. All right, let's run this out and then we'll put the lighter coat and then do a little bit of highlighting on these guys. There's no one out by me, so no zombies. Unless it's your girlfriend. The zombie movie that was funny was Zombieland. Zombieland was funny. The first one. The second one sucked, just like everything else. The sequel sucked. But the first one, I thought the first one was pretty funny. Especially the narrations with his rules and stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. Rule number 21. Or whatever. And the one that's in the shopping mall. The one that's in the shopping mall is pretty funny. Pretty decent. I don't know about pretty funny. But I don't mind zombie movies, but I don't like movies that promote. You watch all the Purge movies? I haven't seen one of them, man. I've been trying to watch the first one. And it's not available anywhere. I don't want to pay for it. I'd love to see the Purge movies. I'd love to see the Purge movies. Gray light base. There we go. The Purge was a good film. At least the first one. What, I got like 4 now? The last one was actually one that was available to watch. I'm not watching them in reverse order. I'm not watching them in reverse order. That's because unlike video games, movies are the opposite. The first movie is the only one that's good, and they just keep getting worse. Video games, generally, the sequels are better. They got more shit to do. I said generally. There's exceptions to everything, but Purge 2 is badass. Lots of purging. I like those kind of movies. I like movies that I would call gun porn. I like that. But then we watch them and it's like, oh shit. That's wrong. That wouldn't happen. When's he going to reload? You start. I got my daughter into it as well. She'll be like, that's bullshit. That he fired 22 times. I'm like, that's right. That's how you know. That's how you know you raised somebody right. When they're counting ammo. The Purge Part 2 is the best. Interesting. So the second one is better, huh? Last of Us 2 was a downgrade. Is that a movie made from a video game or a video game that was made out of a movie? It's one of the two. All right, let's do this sans gloves. right, what we need to do is, this is what we didn't do. We need to dial this pressure down. Like big time. Like I'm using the pressure of like really thick paint. So I don't need to be. There we go. Let's make sure that equalizes out. No, we need to bump it up now more. I'm going to end up wasting this paint doing this, but it's my own fault for not. You guys got me all excited. There we go. It's a video game. Yeah, I think that's a video game that's only for a PlayStation, which means I'll never be able to play it. One of my favorite video games actually is a zombie game, but it's a Microsoft only called State of Decay. And it's a great game. This is a mixture of zombie stuff and building a community and getting resources and fighting people and finding ammo. And it has a mixture of a lot of genre stuff that I like. And it just happens to be a zombie game. And it's not super fast paced from the standpoint of like, okay, let me just have a second and look and like, dude, like leave me alone for a second, like, I'm not saying it's not plausible, but you could find some places in the game where, you could take a break for like 10 minutes. Man, I tried playing Dying Light. It was too intense. And what was that other one? Left 4 Dead? It's like, it's just too fast, man. Like, and I played this shooter in, what's that thing called? The MetaQuest or whatever? I think it was like one of those standard, shooters, like, not Call of Duty, but one of those ones that are like in the Middle East or whatever. Yeah, Call of Duty, right? So whatever, one of those things. And I guess it had kind of a zombie mode, because I was kind of like in this, trying to figure out how to reload weapon. I didn't even know how to reload an AR in the game. And I pressed this red button, and all of a sudden these zombies start coming out. They were the slow zombies, but still I had like nowhere to go, and I didn't know how to reload a weapon. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Dying Light makes you shit your pants sometimes. Yeah, I don't think I'd like to play that. So I watched a demo being played, and I don't remember what the name of the game is. But the demo, I'm watching a video of somebody playing this game, like on YouTube. I'm like looking it through my phone. I'm scared. I'm like, this is a scary freaking game. What's it called? But it had all this demonic shit, and like, really. Never heard of Project Zomboid. What was the name of that? It's a video game that the cover has like a scene from the Saw movie, because it has like barbed wire or something like that. It's like the silhouette of somebody like screaming and there's barbed wire around them. That is a scary fucking game. I don't want to play that. I don't need that in my life. I don't need that in my life. I don't watch horror movies. I mean, I've seen all the Saw movies. They're not horror movies. Torture porn, whatever you want to call it. But the reason I like the Saw movies is, I don't know about like them, but the reason I watch them is this one of those, how far will you go? Will you do this or will you do that? Or, it's kind of a choice. Interesting to see what kind of choices somebody makes. Enemy Within? I think it's called The Enemy Within. It's scary as fuck. I mean, this demonic looking thing in like almost no light. When you're fighting demons, like freaking guns don't work. So you can't be armed to the teeth. It doesn't work. No, I don't need that shit in my life. Then you can't walk across a dark room, It looks like The Sims, and it's about surviving. Huh. I played The Sims for a little bit, and I'm like, why did people, I don't think anybody plays it now, but back in the day, everybody was like raving about that. I'm like, That's like something to have in the background if I was like painting, right? I was painting like, oh, I'm playing The Sims at the same time. Project Zomboid. Is it free like The Sims? Because you can play The Sims for free. I'm surprised how many people like horror. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, how old was I? I'm gonna say about 10 or 11 years old. And I wanted to go visit some folks that were friends of my mom that lived in Mexico. They had a big house. They were like well to do in Mexico. And we decided to watch Halloween. You know, the first Halloween which is like what, from 1978 or something like that. So it was already out. It was out on video. And it's a rated R movie. Like, I shouldn't be watching it. I'm fucking 11 years old. My parents were really strict about watching things that I shouldn't be watching, but they must have been away that night. Yeah, I had trouble falling asleep that day. So a couple Halloweens ago, like 2 or 3, I was at the old house, so not last one, not the one before that one, like 3 Halloweens ago, I decided to watch Halloween to see what was it about this that scared me so much. And I'm like, this is lame. You know, but you're 10 freaking years old, right? Like, you shouldn't be watching stuff like that. It's not free. It's like 15 euros. Okay. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So I went to Europe and I didn't exchange any money because all I did was pay things through my phone, through my Samsung app. And they ask you want to pay in dollars or do you want to pay through the native currency? I'm like, I'll pay through the native currency. But I went to Europe with no cash. And we had a hell of a good time. Can't wait to go back. I was on the same age when I watched my first horror movie. Yeah, you shouldn't be watching that stuff when you're that age, you know? And you know what I don't like about horror movies? I don't like about horror movies, a lot of these horror movies, it's almost like the director is some guy who was some tenderloin or a pussyfoot or a nerd burglar that couldn't get laid when he was in high school, right? So he decides to make this movie with high school girls that are just pretty and get murdered. And it's just, part of me just like rubs me the wrong way. Like, I don't like seeing people hurt. You know, you're not getting killed. You're not getting run over by a car. You're like getting gorily killed just because they're cute. It just, it bothers me. It really, really bothers me. I don't like that. I watched it with the scouts in their dodgy house, and during the movie, a hobo broke the window. Oh, man. Wow. That would startle the crap out of you, wouldn't it? Yeah, you're 10 years old, man. What are you doing watching that stuff, you know? I didn't have an older brother, because that usually the kids that watch stuff like that, you know, older brother. When I was, you know, 13, 14, 15, the movie that everybody was like, it was like the forbidden fruit was Porky's, right? And Porky's is like super dated and super tame by they have really, really crude stuff now, but that was like the forbidden fruit movie. Like, you want to see Porky's? Like you're watching like a porno, you know? But I don't like horrible things happening to pretty girls just because they're pretty. It bothers me. I know. Would I think differently if they were ugly? I don't know, but they wouldn't have made it. That's the whole reason that they're making it, is because the guy couldn't get laid when he was in high school. That's my theory, anyways. It sure did. What happened to? Well, how many kids? Because it's a homo, man. If there's like, if it's a hobo, there's and there's like 15 kids in your thing. 15 kids can take out a homo. In this corner, we have 15 scouts. In this one, we have hobo Hans. No, we don't need scouts and homos in the same thing. I'm talking about hobos. Oh, man. Battle of the Century. Seriously. So that's what I really don't like about horror movies, okay? Now, I haven't seen a whole lot of horror movies, so just hear me out. It seems like every horror movie that I've seen, or maybe not even horror movies, something like around like Stranger Things. I wouldn't call Stranger Things a horror movie. But I'm a fan of Stranger Things season one. And the reason why I'm a fan of Stranger Things season one is a couple reasons. I was the same age those kids were in that year. I was 11 years old in 1982. Okay? So there's that tie in. And the kids in that series were scared of crap, as 11-year-olds would be. You go watch other movies, every adult is like basically a pussy, and the kids are like, we're going to go after them. And the kids are like fearless. I'm like, that's not how kids are. I've been a kid before. That doesn't happen. But 15 kids versus a hobo? I think they could take them. I think they could take them. Although you got to be careful, because some of these, people that want to live under a bridge, they don't have a lot to lose. And I would say, if you think it's okay, if you don't care where you spend the night, there's something wrong with you. Or the ones that have dogs, you're like, man, it's bad enough. You're born as a freaking dog, and all of a sudden your master is like a lazy bastard, doesn't want to get a job. Like, they just have that for sympathy stuff. And they claim here in the United States, they claim that there's people that are homeless that make, 6 figures. And I'm like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But I have seen more homeless people here than in Europe. Now, there may be a lot of homeless people in Europe, but where I went in Spain, I didn't see very many of them at all, But the ones here, they used to not, I live in a suburban town. There was no homeless people here. And then all of a sudden, it's like they're on every corner of the interstate. Oh, there's nothing we can do about them. I said, yeah, there is. Slap a $4,000 or $5,000 fine on somebody if you see them give them money. Yeah, and you see the same people out there day after day. It's not like, well, this guy just needs $5,000, right, to just change his life. Nope. And there might be some people that really do need it, but the vast majority they got issues. Just to rub salt in the wound, if they eat chocolate, they die. The dog, they can't process at all, can they? So, as I've gotten older, I don't have any pets, but as I've gotten older, I've become more appreciative of dogs. I still don't want to have one. But like when I was a kid in the early 80s, dogs were dicks. I mean, they'd be loose. They would chase you down on a bike. They were always aggressive, always aggressive. And now dogs are better as a general. You get dogs that are misbehaved, but as a general rule, dogs are better behaved here than children. So if I go to somebody's house and have a dog, and the dog's like chill, no problem, right? But if you get one that wants to bark at you for no reason, I'm like, hey, that guy opened the door for, I know him and he opened the door for me, so leave me the hell alone, man. And many of them understand they're the dog, right? So like they generally like freaking give a shit about you. Doesn't mean I want to have one, but I can. Dogs were freaking assholes when I was growing up. You always have people that Dobermans were definitely like that was like the satanic dog you want. You want somebody out of your yard, you got a Doberman. You got Doberman in the 1980s, the late 70s, the 80s. Name him Lucifer. Nobody's gonna come screw with you. A dog that's like freaking it's like all teeth. It's all teeth and hate. You know? You got chased up a tree one time. Yeah, man, they were just... You ever wonder what would have happened if you just stood your ground? Yeah, because they say, if you have a dog chasing you, you need to stop, right? Don't run, because they'll keep chasing after you. We know somebody that... I didn't see it happen. We actually didn't know when it happened. They had a friendly dog that attacked them and like gnawed off their face. That dog wouldn't have survived the night. That just, like if they'd attacked my daughter, that dog would be gone. So you can do that in the United States. I said, not for no reason. I mean, you maul my daughter, dog's dead. My dad told me to do that, and the dogs didn't stop. Yeah, that's what my dad said. I think the best thing, if you're gonna walk around in the neighborhood, would have been to have like a broom handle. Just something you could keep it up. Just something. And then stop. And then if he still comes after you, you're like, oh. Because like stray dogs, I saw stray dogs in Europe a lot. And stray dogs are cool, right? Because they're just out for a walk like Benji, Like they don't have any property. They don't give a shit. They're just hanging out. They don't even want to sniff you. They're just like, stray dogs are cool. You get a dog that's like, has a hard on for protecting something that's not even being threatened, you got a problem. You attack my daughter, kiss your dog goodbye. Not cool. That's your job as a dad, man. That's what it should be. There's this horrible murder that happened, I want to say 15 or 20 years ago. And it was one of these, parents are split up, nobody's watching the daughter, dad's a piece of shit, doesn't have a job, he was out drinking and drugging or whatever. Daughter ends up getting accosted by people that she knew. And the next thing you know, the girl's buried alive. And, after they did things to her. And I'm like, man, every time I hear about that story, man, it's like, all the dad had to do is not be a piece of shit, Gotta go. You're an entertaining dude to watch. Good night. Well, subscribe and you'll know when I'm back on, man. I appreciate you coming by, man. You were helpful to the conversation. Anytime, man. And my painting time is usually European friendly, especially in the mornings. Because I'm up really early, really early. I won't be on tomorrow. I gotta help my daughter study, but pair of KFZ13s, baby. Yeah, it's like talk radio without the sports and the politics, right? I mean, unless you want to listen to sports or politics, but I want to listen to either one of them. I don't want to have a conversation with people on a crusade. And there's too many people on a crusade with politics and sports. Oh, my team can't make it. Oh, my team is the best. Oh, we don't cheat. It's your guys that cheat. Yeah, whatever. Go blow smoke up your ass, you know? Go ice. Almost 8. Yeah, so we're going to finish this up, and then we're going to round all the stuff up and bring it inside. I'd say probably most of my viewers are probably European. What do you think? Maybe? I've got more free time to do this kind of stuff. All right. And then these are going to end up getting a brown wash on top of them. Yeah. This worked fine. It was basically the primer that was being a pain in the ass. So you know what? I think that is something I'm going to try to do. I may order some of this Ammo MIG because this stuff sprays great. Just order some Ammo MIG black. It doesn't need to be primer. I just wanted to start with black and just see how that works out. Because literally, I don't think this primer is that durable. I don't think it's any more durable than paint. It just happens to be black. I mean, I guess I could use the Vallejo black, but then I have to thin it. You know, I like these you're ready to go. All you do is put a couple drops and bam, you're in business. So I may do that because it's kind of a pain to spend a lot of time working. And I'm not the best airbrusher in the world, but I'm not handicapped. You know, I've done some pretty amazing things with it, but just having it jam on you like every time you're getting together and doing something. It's just kind of disheartening. It's just a waste of time. I mean, we got the pressure exactly where it needs to be. I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to order some. I'm going to order some of this in just flat black and just see how it behaves. Because this paint's great. It's not worth a shit to dry brush. It doesn't dry brush worth a shit. But, you know, I need some decent shading on there. You know? Hasn't jammed once since I stopped using the primer. I'm going to do that. I'm going to order some black. Force some shadows on here. people that don't know my content, they're like, well, what do people just get online and watch you paint stuff? No, we talk about shit, you know. Or maybe they'll ask me what I think about something, and then we can talk about that. Or they'll see me doing something, and it might help them out, and we're just kind of, it's a social thing, man. I don't have any secrets. I willingly give them all up. I'm like, oh, let me not tell anything about this, so people will think I'm like special or something like that. I'm really good at this, and other people struggle with it. Man, nobody should struggle with this stuff. And I'm just a normal guy that's airbrushing. You know, I think hand painting is infinitely easier. But, you know, I got 40 years of experience doing that. So later this year, or early next year, we're going to do some snow vehicles. I've never done one before. I'm sure it's going to turn out great. I just haven't done it yet. So, all right. So we're going to grab these vehicles here. I'm going to go ahead and put them in here. This one weighs like as much. This hull weighs as much as everything else, because this is white metal. And it's actually the one that's the crappiest detail. It's from a company called Ratham from Canada. That's not why it sucks. It's an old mold, you know. They make good stuff everywhere. They make crap everywhere. All right. Now, so we don't leave this as a running gag. Let's clean this thing out before we stop. So we're going to run all this out. This is like a little brush that came with the airbrush that's very, very hard bristles. They're very firm, and it's really good for getting all that paint that dries on the cup. Not a whole lot of it dries up with this paint. And we're going to make sure that we leave this relatively clean, so when we come back to it next time, we don't waste 30 minutes firing it up. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to shower, and I'm going to see if the wife wants to watch some TV. If she does not, then I'm probably going to go do my regular paint session from inside, because I ain't going to bed. There's stuff to do. So if you haven't gotten enough of me, stay tuned. There might be more. Now, this is the part I don't want to make sure this doesn't fall off. I'm going to screw this back on, because this all the time falls on the ground, and this rolls like crazy. This rolls like one of those wheels that the hamsters get in. And it's just like you drop it here, it ends up being like 10 feet away. That's it, right? Yep, I think that's it. And we were running, by the way, about 18 psi. So really pretty low. Really pretty low. Drop some hand sanitizer in there. Make sure we get all this goo out. That's my one gift, so to speak. You know what? I just invented something else. If you're using the tip and it gets really crappy like this, you know, you don't need the middle part. Just cut it off. Now I got another tip. How about them apples? I wouldn't have come up with that if you guys weren't watching. Yeah, see, there's stuff in there. There's some of that chocolate brown. I was used to painting some chocolate brown paint the other day on the German camouflage, and there it is. Let's do it again. Till no paint comes out. Until it's clear. There you go. Now this thing will be raring to go. And where is my needle? It's already up here. Good. All right. All right, so that's it for out here for the time. Oh, I got one more. Let's make sure there's nothing crummy on this. Appreciate you guys being loyal, following me. Got to 2,000 subscribers last night. That's good. That means I can piss half you guys off and still be monetized. If I haven't pissed you off yet, it's probably not going to happen. I'm not really holding back. So I appreciate you guys being entertained by my antics and stupidity that I sometimes come up with. It's much appreciated. And we'll see you guys soon in the Inside Studio. All right, folks. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.